Welcome back to Dan's Miscellaneous Ramblings, episode 136. Dang, I've been doing this for so long now. 136 episodes times 50, roughly 15 minutes per episode. I know the actual number is going to be a bit higher. I know I did that one episode that was kind of short, but all the other episodes have been longer. So let's just assume 15 minutes as a very, very conservative estimate. I'm pulling out the old calculator because I really just don't feel like doing this math in my head. There's my calculator. It's like, I've got it. Okay, here we go. Turn it on. Oh, I need to charge this thing soon. 136 times 15. 2,040 minutes of podcast. Divide that by 60. This is my 34th hour of podcast. That's incredible. Wow. Okay. So this is going to be, now that I've wasted about a minute of your time, the euphonium episode. Now, what is a euphonium? Because some of you may not be recognizing that word. A euphonium is an instrument, all right? And I want you to think about a tuba. Let's start that as a baseline. Now baseline because it's a tuba. Hold on, give me a sec. There we go. My headphones aren't plugged in, so I hope you didn't hear an echo there. I don't think you did, but oops. Anyway, think about a tuba and make it a little bit smaller. And that's about what a euphonium is. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, some of you don't know what a tuba looks like. So I want you to think about a euphonium and make it a little bigger. All right? And that's how you know what a tuba is. Aren't I so helpful? No, a euphonium is the instrument I play. All right. It's quite fun. I enjoy it a lot. And tonight I actually had my last band concert in high school ever. So I just want to talk about my instrument, what I play, what I do. All right. So a euphonium it's described as medium-sized, and it has either 3 or 4 valves. Mine is personally a 3-valve one. And the valves are all placed near the top of the instrument. There's another tube that kind of goes over it, but it's a convenient place for your hand. And pressing certain valves will change what note you play. And you can change the octave and pitch and stuff by using your mouth differently, so I'll get to that in just a sec. But there are, with 3 valves, exactly 7 combinations of valves. I know because I counted them. It's also, not hard if you know what any factorial is. But that's beside the point. So, of course, the combinations are all open, all closed, and then any combination of 1 or 2 valves pressed down. And they all help play a different note. So, if you look at your basic B-flat scale, this is an instrument that plays in B-flat. Now, some instruments, they kind of lie to you. Because let's think about a keyboard, like a piano keyboard. If you play, that one's another instrument that plays in B-flat. If you play a C on the piano keyboard, you're going to be playing a C. If you play a D, you're going to be playing a D. If you play an F, you play an F. But some instruments lie to you. I'm not entirely sure how the steppages work for other instruments, as I don't play them. But some instruments are a note and a half behind, basically. So if you're playing an F, then you'll go 1 note behind, which is E, because E sharp is F. So that was a bad example, because that would just put you a D, I think, as a note and a half behind. I think. Let's just talk about D for a second. No, hold on. Wait, I'm trying to think of where would E be a good starting? G. A. We'll start A. So if you play an A, say an A sharp. An A sharp is what's called a half step above an A. All right. And it's kind of like an A, but just a little bit higher pitched. So you go back half a step and then another step, which a full step down from A is G. So if that instrument that plays a note and a half higher plays an A flat, they're actually playing a G. And why do instruments do this? I don't know. I don't know why they couldn't have just standardized it, but they didn't. But the baritone the euphonium. There's a couple differences between those, but I also call my thing a baritone, so it's whatever. And the euphonium plays the notes that it says it's playing, which I find to be very helpful, very, very considerate of the instrument. So if you're playing a B flat scale, which is the most common scale, probably, it's fully open for the B flat. Then you have the first and third down for a C. Then you have a D, which is first and second. Then an E flat, which is first valve only. An F, which is all open. A G, which is the first and second valve. An A, which is the middle valve. And finally, another B flat, which is all open again. Now, not every B flat is all open. Sometimes when you get up to like really high or really low octaves, notes kind of change what they have to do. So, and that's just kind of funky. There's also a couple combinations where you play them and they make the exact same sound as a different combination. Like when you're playing an F, you can play that with first and third valves or open. I like playing it open. Most people play it open, but you can do it first and third valves if you really wanted to. Or if you're trying to play a D, you play that with first and second. But you can also play anything that plays with first and second using only the last valve. So I'm not entirely sure why that is, but you know what? It is. So we just sort of have to deal with that. Now, a euphonium, you heard me say something about euphonium and baritone. All right. So what's the difference? Because they look pretty similar. A euphonium and a baritone. Basically, a euphonium is conical, which means the tubing gradually gets bigger from the mouthpiece, where you blow into, to the bell, where the sound comes out. Whereas a baritone is cylindrical. It's basically roughly the same tubing size until the very end. And that's meant to give it a bit of a brighter sound. So they sound a little different, but for the most part, it's mostly interchangeable-ish enough, at least. All right. Now that that's out of the way, let's get to the parts of a euphonium. All right. So you blow air into the mouthpiece, and the mouthpiece is this metal piece that's sort of like, I don't know how to explain this. It's got like a circle that's the opening that then goes down through with a curved piece. It's like all one piece, but it's like a curved bit to get down to a very, very small tube that actually goes into the instrument. So you have this very large tube this very large circle that gets filtered down the small tube to help compress the air and whatever. Now, in order to play this, you don't just blow into it. No, that would be far too simple. Whenever you have these different instruments, you have to blow into them a very specific way. And the very specific way for a baritone, and this is the same thing for a tuba, this is the same thing for a trombone, and to a lesser extent, it's actually the same thing for a trumpet, though a trumpet has a smaller mouthpiece, as well as a French horn also has a smaller mouthpiece, but they have the same theory. You do the same action, just a sort of a different mouth shape you have to make. You have to make a buzzing sound, and it sounds roughly like this. All right, and you do that buzzing sound into this mouthpiece, and I wish I had my baritone at home because I demonstrate, but also it's 11:27 p.m., so I don't think my parents would appreciate that very much. Now, you make that buzzing sound, and the air travels then up to the valves. The valves are basically these things that you can press in, and the trumpets have them as well as a couple other instruments. Tubas have them. And these are called piston valves. They're a type of valve, and these are the ones that you just push in. And that's all you do. There are other type of valves as well, such as rotary valves, which are found on French horns. And those, you press it in and it like turns something rather than just pushing something down. But the baritone uses piston valves. So you can press those down if you wish, and the air will travel through more tubing. And that's how you change. That's one of the ways to change the sound, to change the note. It gets through there, and it goes through a lot of tubing. It goes through I'm gonna look up how long is baritone tubing. How long is euphonium tubing? Is the euphonium uncoiled? Uncoiled, it is the unwound tube is 9 feet. So all that air has to go through 9 whole feet of tubing in order to get to the end. Along the way, you'll encounter what's known as officially as a water key, but everyone else calls it a spit valve. It's this little thing you can press. It's spring loaded, so it snaps back, and you can let out spit from the instrument. So here's the gross part about playing pretty much any instrument, but especially brass instruments. A lot of spit collects on the inside of them because you have to make that buzzing sound, and spit just sort of goes in. And so you have to have some way to get it out. And the 2 main places it collects are, there's usually someplace near the bottom of one of the big tubes after you've gone for a little bit, and in the small tubes that are on the valves, spit tends to collect there a lot too. So you have to make sure that you keep your thing empty from spit by opening those valves or taking off tubes when necessary. Oh, jeez. It's kind of gross when you just let the spit go. So don't put it on your clothes because it's kind of gross. I mean, it's just your spit. So it's just kind of gross. But the band, that's also why you should never eat off of a band room floor. Because God, those things get cleaned like twice a year. People spit on it more than twice a year, I assure you. All right. I'm very, very tired. I had that band concert. It went pretty well, actually. We all had a very nice time. I think that I played very well. I missed a couple things, but I played it very well. And most people played it very well. I could hear. The baritone, I enjoy playing the baritone a lot. I had a baritone that I was renting, and I called him Barry the baritone. And then I left him. And by left him, I mean I had to give him back because I was buying a different one. Because my grandparents 1 year bought it for my birthday. Bought a euphonium. I was very happy about that. And I called him Eugene the euphonium, and that's the one that I currently have sitting at school. I know it's very clever naming, but look, I was in like 7th grade or something. So don't hate on me too much. Band's really given me a sense of togetherness and helped me meet a lot of people in school. And I'm really, really thankful for it. I think that band was a wonderful experience. And if you have the choice to take band, I'd strongly recommend it. And I'd strongly recommend picking the euphonium. It's not for everyone, but it's a pretty big instrument that's not super big. So like it's still carryable by pretty much anyone. But I just think it's a good time. And I recommend trying it. I actually picked the euphonium because it was the biggest instrument I could pick, and I didn't want to do percussion because it seemed too easy. Percussion is not too easy, I assure you. There's a lot of really cool stuff that they do. But very young me was like, how hard could that be? Oh boy. All right, so that's going to bring us to the song that's been on my mind all episode. And today's song that's been on my mind all episode is Out of My League by Fitz and the Tantrums. It was the most recent song I listened to on my Spotify playlist when I was driving home from the concert. So, yeah. So that's going to bring us to the end of today's episode. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. And I'll catch you all next time. Goodbye.